Hey guys, I'm John Barklow, and today I want to talk to you about backcountry fire. Now, fire in the backcountry is a luxury, and it's not something that you should always rely on. You can't always build a fire. There are certain environmental conditions that are just going to conspire against your best efforts. And I remember the first time this happened to me in coastal Alaska when I was trying to build a fire on a spring brown bear hunt, and it was very damp, as you can imagine, in coastal Alaska. Snow was coming down. We really wanted a fire to kind of ride out that afternoon. And I blew fruitlessly at that fire for 3 hours. And although I could get a flame, that fire never provided the warmth that we were actually seeking. And so that really drove home the point that when you are building fires and training to build fires in the backcountry, you can't just build in a permissive environment. Rarely is anything going to go wrong when the weather's great. And if the weather's great, there's a really good chance that you're not going to need a fire for actual survival. So you need to go out and train in inclement conditions. You need to take advantage of your training area, I like to say. Train in the spring when it's damp. Train in the winter where there's snow on the ground, where there's a high humidity, where there's cold ground and damp wood. That's really going to challenge your fire making skills. That's really going to allow you to hone in and build that confidence and true capability. And then when you need that fire, you're going to be able to have the best chance of success of achieving that. And you're also going to know that maybe my odds are really low in these conditions because of that experience you built in the training area. Now, there's a few things to consider when you're building fires. And the one thing is geometry. Now, I was never good at math, but geometry can save your life in this case. And it's to remember the fire triangle. So the three things you need to remember with your fire triangle are fuel, oxygen, and heat. Now, the fuel is going to be the wood. The fuel is going to be what ignites, what actually combusts and generates that heat. Now, oxygen or airflow is what's going to help intensify that flame. So we want to make sure that we have really good airflow when we're building our fire. Now, those two things, the byproduct is going to be that heat. And we want to make sure when we're building fires that we slowly add wood, that we don't put too much fuel on and we don't tamp out that airflow. And if we slowly add that fuel, that is going to build the heat that we need. And so these things, in a very disciplined approach, are what's going to help you be successful when you're making fire in the backcountry. And I can't stress enough that disciplined approach. Now, when it's really good weather and we can just get anything to ignite, that's probably one, not when we want to be practicing fire making, but two, we can get away with anything and take a big ball of sticks and put it on some fire tinder and get the whole thing to go up. But when conditions are inclement, when it's damp, when it's cold, when it's rainy, when it's snowy, we need to be very disciplined in our approach. And so if you go about that when you're practicing, that's how you're going to play. And so take all these things into consideration when you're going out to train making fires in the backcountry.